Today, we will be talking about the psychology of selling and the 10 steps to selling that actually work. Step number 1, prospecting. Prospecting means finding the right potential buyer for what you're selling. When considering your product or service, ask yourself, who would benefit most from this? For example, if the end user is a corporation, you need to make contacts within corporations. Usually, a purchasing agent will be assigned to make buying decisions on behalf of the company. So you need to find a way to get in touch with that person. If your end user is a family with school-aged children, you need to go where families are, for example, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, etc. Or acquire a list from a credible source and start contacting those prospects at home. To make an informed decision about which prospects to approach, you need to find out some information about the people or companies you've chosen as possibilities. Do some research about any prospective client company online. This legwork is sort of a pre-qualification step in prospecting. You'll do even more qualification when you meet a prospective client. But why waste time on an appointment with a company or person who would not have a need for your product or service? I can tell you that many salespersons do not do this. They will just spam emails or messages to all available companies out there hoping to get a response. The more information you get from the company, the more specific you are in the message you send, the higher chance they will respond to you. Step number 2, making initial contact. You found the right people to be your potential buyers. Now you actually get to meet them. To persuade another person to give you her valuable time, you need to offer something of value in return. For instance, to gain entrance to someone's home, you need to offer a free estimate or gift in exchange for her opinion on the demonstration of your product. With a business-to-business appointment, getting an appointment may be a bit easier, because you'll often be working with a purchasing agent whose job it is to meet with and gather information from people like you. If you offer anything remotely like a product or company may use, it's her duty to investigate what you have to offer. Your goal is to make agreeing to an appointment as easy as possible. I strongly recommend giving your prospect 2 options with regard to dates and times. Say something like, I have an appointment opening on Tuesday at 9:30 a.m. Or would Wednesday at 3 p.m. be better for you? This makes the prospect look at her calendar and consider the open blocks of time in her schedule. Whereas, if you just say, when can we get together? She's likely to look at how busy she is and hesitate to commit. When you get a commitment, confirm all the details such as where the meeting will take place. And get directions if you haven't been there before. Also, get a commitment as to who will be present. If you sell products to consumers and you know you'll need to have the agreement of both spouses. For example, you need to confirm that they'll both be present. If you're talking with a young and single person, he may decide to have a parent or other adult present to help him make his decision. Step 3, uncovering client information. We've discovered that those who enjoy the most success in affluent sales have mastered the art of gathering personal information from clients and prospects. There are 3 reasons why the task of personal intelligence gathering is so critical. 1. It strengthens the loyalty of affluent clients. 2. It increases the probability of further monetizing the relationship, future sales, by helping you personalize your services to create wow experiences. 3. It activates positive word-of-mouth influence, increasing referrals and introductions. To gather intelligence, ask questions in a conversational manner and really listen to the answers. This can be accomplished by following these simple rules. Talk 20% of the time and spend the rest listening. Before going on, if you feel that I have given you some value, please help me by smashing the like button, subscribe to my channel and turn on the notification bell, so you will be updated when I upload new videos like this. Major life events that you can gauge by the age of your prospect. If you are talking to someone in their 20s, do not talk about your experience of being a grandfather. Likewise, if you are talking to someone in their 50s, do not start talking about which nightclubs you enjoyed, etc. Keep your eyes and ears open for major life events. Do your research, using social media before the meeting. If you are meeting your client, you know where he works, his name, etc. You can find some of his personal information on social media. It works 90% of the time. For example, if you are meeting up with a prospect in his 50s in his office, look around to gather as much info as you can. See if there is any photo frame on his table. Let's take for instance if he is married and have 2 children, which is most of the case for a man in his 50s. You can start off the conversation by saying something like, "Finally, I am talking to a real human being for now." He might be puzzled and ask, "Why is that so?" You can then tell him that due to social media these days, all my friends and even girlfriend, they are stuck onto their phone every hour, every minute of their lives even if we are together. I find that phones and social media are taking away the warmth of our lives. Even if you are next to me, I might feel that you are far away. Well, trust me. People in their 50s will agree to you and start telling you it's true, and their children are on their phone every minute as well. Once hearing this, you can start talking about his or her children. Remember, do not start off the conversation by saying, "Does your children play with their phone all the time? Because I saw it on your social media post." This seemed to be creepy and alert your prospect that you did a check on his background, which some people do not like it. Step 4, do not be too excited. Do not be hype up and keep telling about your product first. Ask question and remember the 80-20 rules. 80% listening to your prospect and 20% asking questions and closing. One of the biggest sales mistakes that young entrepreneurs make is asking for the sale too soon. I know what you're thinking, why not ask for the sale? If you don't ask, the answer is always no, right? Yes, it's true that every entrepreneur needs to be bold enough and confident enough to make the ask. But the best way to make a successful sale is to treat it as a process. Think about it this way. If you are sick and consults a doctor, you go into the room and say that you were sick, and the doctor immediately tell you, "Okay, go out and wait for your medicine and make payment." How would you feel? You would most probably feel that he or she isn't professional enough, and you would not buy the medicine from him if you have the choice not to. Think of it like a doctor, ask questions, doctors ask question and open prescription. Step number 5, qualifying. You need to find out whether she's qualified to be your client. In selling, qualifying your prospects means finding out not just who they are but also what they do, what they have, and what they need. You don't have to take on every client who qualifies for your product or service. If Mr. Big Bucks could become your biggest client, you'll likely be investing a large amount of your time with him. If you can't stand the guy after your first meeting, consider how well you'll really serve his needs and whether someone else may be better suited to the potential stress this client could cause you. If you've done your homework and looked up information about the prospect, you'll know what questions to ask. You'll eventually have to know a lot of information about the prospect, providing you get the account. So if you're truly convinced that this is a good match for you, you may as well ask questions now. The more specific your questions, the more impressed your potential client will be with your expertise. Asking pertinent questions now shows that you're interested in more than just a closed sale and that you're looking into the future as a valued business partner with your client. Your prospects will be qualifying you too. So be aware of what you're showing them. Most clients are looking for people who are dependable, loyal, trustworthy, intelligent, competent, and even a little fun. Do your prospects see that when they look at you? If you need to communicate a trait that's difficult to see, for instance, you are the kind that will handle every aspect of the product or service even after the sales is made. Try to include it into a short story of how ABC company benefited from using your product, and you personally guide them through the process of updating the firmware. Even you could just let your after sales handle. Tell them that because you want to make sure that all companies will be able to benefit from your product at the highest level. Step number 6, addressing concerns. How do you handle any negative comments or concerns your prospect may raise during or after your presentation? Answer in simple, unemotional terms, and have recommendations in mind. For example, if your product is available only in certain colors, and none of them quite fit the decoration of your prospect's office, be prepared to point out the least offensive color as being somewhat complementary to his decoration. In fact, when you get around to discussing the colors, suggest something like this: based on your color scheme, the sunrise blue would best complement your decoration. That way, you've already seen and addressed the objection before the prospect brought it up. If you sidestep obstacles during your presentation, there's a good chance they'll come back to haunt you if you do get the sale. Find a way to bring up and elaborate on any concerns about fulfilling the needs of the buyer as early in the presentation as is appropriate. Don't let unfulfilled expectations bring your potential long-term relationship with a client to a bitter end. Cover all her concerns, and make sure that she understands how those concerns will be handled, and that she's comfortable with it. Step 7, scarcity before closing. How to harness the real power of scarcity. The commodity theory proposes that scarcity increases the value, or at least the desirability, of an item or experience that meet 3 basic criteria. It's useful. It's transferable between people. It has the potential to be possessed. On top of that, Dr. Michael Lin, a professor at Cornell, compiled a list of explanations. With psychologists and researchers have found over the years that examine why scarcity increases desirability. Let's break this down. Scarce items feel exclusive. Those who have scarce items have exclusive access, which is not openly available to others. This, in itself, makes a scarce item more desirable. This is why clubs have VIP areas, airlines have special membership lounges, etc. Scarce items appear more valuable. According to the law of supply and demand, items in low supply often cost more, and therefore scarce items are expensive items that act as status symbols. Example, to get one of the few Birkin bags produced by luxury brand Hermes, you'll probably be waitlisted for years, just to pay the $10K plus price tag. Scarce items make people feel powerful. Snagging a scarce item means you have access to something other people want but can't have, which gives the owner power. Example of giving a scarcity is to give a limited time only add-ons. We take the example of selling a software, for instance. Right now the software comes with advanced plan for the price of basic plan. After the quota is being used, we will charge extra X amount of money to be on advanced plan. This gives a sense of urgency for your prospect. This will greatly help you in your closing later on. Step number 8, closing the sale. If you've researched your prospect properly, given yourself enough valuable preparation time, and handled all the previous steps in a professional manner, you'll likely close the sale. Closing should follow naturally and smoothly after you address your prospect's concerns. But if your prospect doesn't automatically pick up a pen to approve your paperwork or write a check, don't panic. You don't have to turn into Joe typical salesperson and apply pressure to get what you want. Getting your prospect's business can be as simple as saying, "How soon do we start?" At this point, if you're confident about being able to give her what she needs, you should begin taking verbal ownership of your future business relationship with assumptive statements and questions. You may also want to use analogies, quotes from famous people, or today's news to persuade people to go ahead and do it today. Use similar situation stories about other clients who got involved with your product or service and are happy they did. Be prepared to show the potential client how she can afford this product or service if that's her area of hesitation. Often, that's just a matter of doing the math to show her how affordable the item is compared to the benefits she'll receive. When it comes time to close, you've hopefully reduced any sales resistance the person had early on and increased her level of sales acceptance. Then it's just a matter of agreeing on the details of startup or delivery dates and/or financing arrangements. Step 9, getting referrals. And Step 10, getting testimonials. After you close the sale, take a moment to ask for referrals. This can be as simple as asking, "Because you're so happy with this decision today, would you mind if I ask you for the names of other people you know who may also be interested in learning about this product?" If the client has mentioned other family members in the area, ask, "Who in your family would also enjoy the benefits of our fine lawn service?" Or, "Which of your neighbors takes the most pride in his yard?" In a corporate situation, ask about other departments within the company who may need your same service. Then ask about other office locations that the same company has. Finally, ask about associates of the purchasing agent who may work at non-competing companies. If the client seems uncomfortable with doing that, and I love it when clients felt uncomfortable giving referrals, because I will quickly turn it around and say, "No worries for that, we could do that later. But could you do me a favor by giving us your utmost testimonials in a video for our future clients?" Most of the time, they would say yes. That is because psychologically, they seemingly have did you an unfavor by not giving you referrals. It is nothing wrong with that, but they will be more inclined to return a favor to you instead. Do remember these steps on selling, and you will be able to close more sales than before. Also like this video if you have learned something today. And subscribe to my channel for future updates on sales and copywriting.